Damn it. I turned it off.
Oh, mine too. All right, so welcome everyone to Sinister Sunday. This is episode 10. Today, or tonight, whenever you're watching us, is going to be about our favorite video games and our favorite thrash bands, if we have enough time to talk about it, which I'm sure we will. Also, I just want to let everyone know that if you want to make sure that your questions, if you have any, get answered, I do have super and $2 support the channel, and make sure your question gets answered by myself and the Rebellion panelists. With me tonight is Jessica from My Life as a Death Metal Drummer's Wife. Welcome, Jessica.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
And also with us is Lord Husk from his new channel, Lord Husk's Evil Empire. Welcome, Lord Husk.
Thank you.
So if y'all don't mind going and giving my boy Lord Husk some support, like I said, he's starting up a new channel, something fresh, making sure everything's copacetic and all good. So he's going to be coming up with new content, hopefully every week, and you will out it in the description box below. I think I have the new link there. If not, look for it after the stream because I'll be hooking it up there. And yeah, give him some support. And we will be seeing and hearing from Trez from Total Metal Rejection. He's usually fashionably late, so it's all good. And hopefully we can also get Azag Gala from Azag's Abyss a little later in the stream. He's still caught up at work because got to make that money. And yeah, so maybe we'll be seeing him by the end of the stream. Anywho, let's get on with it. The first is our favorite video games, and Lord Husk has lots to talk about, so I'm going to give it to you, Lord Husk.
Okay, where to start at? Might as well get my biggest franchise out of the way, but some of you guys have seen on my old channel that I'm a huge Alien fan. Just to let you know, in my left hand is Alien vs. Predator 360 game that's backwards compatible on Xbox One. Personally, there was a game called Alien Colonial Marines that was poorly done, and this one was just better. But basically, you play as the three species, which is Marine, human, human, Predator, and Alien. Alien has a very short campaign to it. The Marine and the Predator are the lengthy ones. Multiplayer is glitchy as fuck. But yeah, if I had to give this a rating, it's a 9.5. Definitely check this game out if you have a 360 or Xbox One. Next game, it's more of a survival horror game, but I have a sticker in front of it. But basically, it's Alien Isolation. Pretty good survival game if you have the patience for it, but this is basically a 9 because, well, I just don't have patience to play this game completely. But it is one of my. I'm gonna have to play once I get another TV because I'm stuck on a level. You have to activate generators, and well, you know, xenomorph eggs, 3 xenomorphs. You know, shit's fucked. This next 3 games, I got a bunch to let you guys know. It's both a Resident Evil franchise games. I have Resident Evil 6 here, and I have Revelations 2. Resident Evil 6 is basically, there's 4 campaigns to it. The first campaign is Leon and Helena, which is basically dealing with zombies. You have Chris's campaign, which his partner's, his name is Piers, and you're dealing with Chihuahua, which are basically mutated humans. And then you have Jake's campaign, which his partner is Sherry Birkin. If you guys are familiar with that name, she is from Operation Raccoon City. She is William Birkin's daughter. And
Right.
a little kick in the nuts that no one knows, Jake Mueller is Albert Wesker's son,
Oh shit.
which is interesting. And the last campaign is Ada Wong. Her campaign's all right. You're doing most of the solo. Revelations 2. Oh, I just don't know where to start on this game. Basically, on the back here, if I'm correct, this is Barry. I forgot that girl's name. And then on the left-hand side is Claire and I can't even say name. Maury, I believe. Basically, it's another zombie game. It's a good game. I give both this one and Resident Evil 6 between 8.5 and a 9.5.
Nice.
A lot of people are going to know this game, but Dying Light. Great zombie game. If you're into story and fighting zombies day and night, this is definitely a game for you. It is like...
Is that the parkour game where
Yes,
you
it
shoot
is.
like that Gatling thing as well? Play that. I've actually
grappling hook. Yeah, you get the grappling hook, crossbow, and all that shit. This is basically a I have to say a 10 out of 10 for this one, because this one actually has like invasion mode, which basically you could get other players from the game playing as a zombie. So yeah, if you guys haven't played this, check it out. I believe the other one's coming out next year or the year after that. Don't quote me on it yet. But yeah, definitely check out Dying Light.
Yeah, definitely do like the game. I used to watch my buddy James Forshawn play it at his place before jams with Humanectomy, and it looked sick as fuck. I picked it up for, I think, the Xbox One. But I haven't gotten around to playing it yet because I've been too busy with the channel here, trickier stuff. So, but yeah, it's definitely a good game.
Definitely check it out. The new Dying Light, I heard, is going to be a lot harder than this one. They're going to make this Dying Light a pushover compared to the newest one.
Yeah. Well, you got
from what I heard, yeah, it's more parkour, and if you're not off the ground, you're basically, well, let's say it this way. From what I've seen from or heard from people, if you drop on the ground, you're basically dead, because the enemies are a lot harder. From what I heard.
Yeah.
This game I actually favor a lot out of the whole group. Some of you guys probably know this, but Metro Redux. They got a new one coming out.
Which one?
Metro Redux, which is basically 2033 and Last Light put together in one disc, remastered too. There's a new one coming out next year. It's called Metro Exodus. I can't wait to play that. But if no one really knows about this game, basically you are playing. I don't know if they're Russians or Ukrainians. I don't know which ones they are. But basically, the Russian government did a nuke, and basically everyone was put down into the metro. Basically, it's like Fallout, but with demons and other stuff in it. This is a 10 out of 10 right here for me. If you guys are huge fans of Metro, definitely, if you guys get Exodus before me, let me know. The next game, it had shitty credit for. I don't know why. I played it. I loved it. But we have Homefront Revolution.
Right.
Pretty badass game. If you guys are not into guerrilla warfare, it's definitely not for you. I was not a big guerrilla warfare fan, but this one actually caught my attention a lot. But yeah, basically, if no one's familiar with this game, basically Homefront is basically when the Koreans invade America. And the Patriots are still trying to break free from that control. So, honestly, this is 8.5 to me.
Nice.
There could have been more to the campaign. Let me get these two out of the way before I do my last one.
Sure.
A lot of people are probably not familiar with these games, or you guys probably don't think I play them. I have Gears of War Ultimate Edition and Gears of War 4. Ultimate Edition is the remaster version of the first Gears of War, but instead of it having the regular campaigns, they threw extra missions in it to make it lengthier. It's got better graphics to it, so this is an 8 out of 10. And this one is after the third one. Basically, you're playing as JD Phoenix, which is Marcus Phoenix's son. You have Dell and you have Cat. You have Cat on your team, but basically they have the original characters from the other Gears of War, which is Hoffman, Cole, Baird, and Sam. And then you have Marcus Phoenix. But yeah, this game is pretty cool. I had I had some interesting comments about this game for myself, but if you guys remember Gears of War 2, Benjamin Carmine said, "Why don't we have flashlights on these guns?" Well, I think Carmine can actually agree that now they have flashlights on their guns. But this one's definitely a 9. 9 out of 10. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Basically, the locust in this game is called the Swarm. And they are basically the locusts. Are you familiar with the third ending?
Of which one?
Gears of War 3.
I just know the normal endings, and I think that might only be to the first Gears of War. I don't think I finished Gears of War 2. I got stuck when that giant, like, troll golem thing was attacking. I couldn't get past it.
You talking about the worm? Or are you talking about the Brumark?
I'm not sure what it was called. Gray troll thing that was running up and down these halls and knocking over columns and smashing through walls.
Oh, you talking about the Berserker? I'm taking, correct?
The
or you're talking about the Berserker? They call him that. Call her that.
Oh, yeah, I think it might have been called the Berserker.
If not, it was the Sirens, which were pain in the asses. But yeah, basically what happens is Marcus's dad activates a machine that kills everything, Lambent and Locust alike.
Yeah.
Basically, the Locusts come back as the Swarm.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah, more deadlier too. Last game before I'm done talking. Actually, it's one of my favorite games. Well, my second favorite game, actually. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm wearing one of the shirts. We have Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. Pretty good campaign. Storyline's pretty awesome. It's dealing with the Great Ninja War. I have like 5 favorite characters from this game, but I'm wearing one right now, which is Kakashi Hatake. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of him.
Nice.
If you haven't seen the anime, the reason why he's one of my favorites is because he's very like suspicious. Like he's very mysterious. He doesn't show his face. He's always reading a book that Jiraiya, or as Naruto calls him, Pervy Sage, wrote.
Right.
So it's a pretty cool anime and a good show and game. This is definitely, if I could give it this rating, it'd be a 9.9 out of 10.
Nice.
But yeah, definitely check these games out. If you guys see this at GameStop and you like Naruto, pick yourself up a copy. But that's all my favorite games from there.
Good stuff, man, for sure. I'm surprised you didn't mention any modern warrior or anything, considering your Mr. Evil Ops old channel.
Yeah, I mean, I do like them. It's just I'm more into like horror, fighting, and stuff like that. I would have mentioned Black Ops and Modern Warfare 3, but I felt like that would be another video for me to make.
Yeah, fair enough, man. So, before to, I guess, maybe Jessica's couple that she might want to talk about, what would you say your favorite genre of video game is?
Would that be for me?
No, for Lord Husk here. I was just
Oh,
wondering, like,
I
what would
thought
he
so.
like horror, first person shooter, beat 'em up style, RPG, etc.
I would say there'd be a mixture of thriller. Well, I don't know if you call it, but basically horror, first person shooter, and basically, trying to think what would you consider Naruto under.
I'm not sure. I haven't played the game, and I haven't seen any video footage of it. I'm going to assume it's probably an RPG, though.
Um, it's more of an action type of game, but once I get my equipment for my channel for the gameplays, I'll have to make the videos so you see what
Yeah,
it's about.
definitely do that. I would definitely be interested in seeing you do some gaming on your channel if you can get the program and the hardware and stuff like that. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do that with my other channel, but who knows? Might get luckier with this one.
For sure. Well, I mean, like, it's pretty cool because I know Azag from his games on his channel, like Conan and 7 Days
So,
to Die.
alright.
He played something else too. I think he was playing Star Wars. I can't remember what the name of it was, but I know he's playing a Star Wars game at 1.2.
I'll have to look at it because I'm kind of a Star Wars nerd myself, so I probably
It
know
might
which
have
one
been
it
the Old
is.
Republic one.
Old Republic. Oh, you're talking about. Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, there was 3 games with that name. Knights of the Old Republic. They had 2 on the original Xbox. I actually have one on my Xbox right now, and then the other one was a computer game, but that was basically an RPG game.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I got a text from viewers who is actually working on a Goosarella logo for me. Looks pretty sweet.
Oh, there is one other game I
So
forgot.
shout out. Shout out.
There is actually
Go
one
ahead, man.
game I forgot. I just now remembered it. It's called Slender the Arrival.
Oh yeah. What's that about?
Like the actual. Basically you're collecting pages and stuff, just like basically any other Slender game, but there's actually a story behind it all. Like you're trying to find the part I'm on right now is you're trying to find a missing child that was basically killed by Slender.
Oh,
So
damn.
they only have Slender in that. I think they have like Laughing. No, I can't say it's Laughing Jack, but it's some weird looking clown dude. It's probably Jeff the Killer, probably.
Oh,
But yeah, I actually got that game on the Xbox app or the Xbox store for like $5, basically.
sweet.
Yeah, definitely check it out because that's that takes a new turn for action horror.
Fair enough,
If that's
man.
what you would call it.
What? Probably. All right, man. Those are definitely some good games. I'll probably hit on some of those when it comes around to my turn. But let's hear from Jessica. She hasn't really had a chance to talk yet on the stream yet. I know she's got maybe 1 or 2 games to chat about. But Jessica, what are some of your favorite video games for like either from now or from the past?
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to go way back to the very beginning. Oregon Trail, god damn it, was the hardcore stuff back in the day. It might have taken 15 minutes to load up one maneuver, but man, that Oregon Trail was some stuff right there. You guys ever heard of Oregon Trail?
Yeah, it's a Canadian game, isn't it?
You know, I honestly don't know. I just know it's a computer game. And you had floppy disks. This is back in the day when you put the good old floppy disk in and you waited 15 minutes for it to load and load and load and off you were to the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
So there
anyone-
hence is the beginning of computer games and computer gaming. And then we moved on to something else called Castle, which was also another hardcore graphic game from 1980 something or another. And you know, I had Atari back in the day. I also had ColecoVision. I had the original Mario Brothers on ColecoVision and Donkey Kong. That was before Nintendo. ColecoVision had one button and a little joystick, and that was about it. So I guess you would say the original Donkey Kong on ColecoVision is probably the hardcore shit, you know? I mean, back in the day, Street Fighter was also fun. I remember playing, you know, Street Fighter battles for like hours on end, you know, past the paddle, you know, until the break of dawn. Street Fighter, you know, and it'd be just ringing through your head, all the Street Fighter voices, and that was always fun, you know. But Street Fighter's the kind of game it's not fun if you're not playing with like a group of people. So Street Fighter for me, I couldn't see me playing it by myself against a computer. I've never done that. I just don't think it would be any fun. If I were to move on and advance, you know, maybe by myself games would be like back in those days, like the Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, like the original one. Yeah, I like playing that one by myself, but the fighting games not so much. So yeah, I had that back in the day, Sega. That got broken really easily though. And you know, I mean, for me, I don't even trust myself with this type of technology. I've always had a bad record of burning, breaking, watering, or some sort of bedlam that just unleashes upon the electronics upon my home. So I just opted not to buy any of that kind of stuff anymore because all the alcoholic raging that goes on, it'll get broken.
Yeah.
That's happened more than once. So I mean, I got, as a matter of fact, hold on, I got something right next to me. We were working on some D&D stuff tonight, so hold on, let me pull you out some stuff I got.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, that's pretty good. Like Street Fighter back in the day is definitely jams for sure. I had to always be the Ken guy who did the like giant flaming uppercuts and stuff like that. I think my other favorite character was that weird green reptile guy, Blanca.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
right.
I hate
I
that
don't
character.
Well, currently I'm playing the 5th edition of the Dungeons and the Dragons.
Very nice.
But Yeah, but you know what? I'm not, too picky. I'm the dungeon master, so I get to say. But I also like to use these second edition. I hate to say it, second edition. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is always going to remain the shit to me because the second edition had released a lot of these compendiums and extra character boosters. Like this one is just arms and equipment alone, and it's just a guide of different types of weapons. Good for character building. It's also good for I'm writing a bunch of NPCs right now. Like here's some different type of weapons. They even have a whole chapter on clothing, like different types of acceptable clothing for your characters. So, and I also have like I'm a crazy nut bag when it comes to monster compendiums. I do own quite a few, but I mean, I know some people are sticklers and they don't like to mix, but even though this is the 4th edition and I'm running the 5th edition right now, but there's some monsters that are in here that are not in the 5th edition. And I'm still going to use these good old monsters because some of these monsters fit right into the campaign story that I'm writing. So just because it's from a different edition doesn't mean the mechanics can't work in it. They still work in fine. I mean, I can always work around something like that. And then I have here here's the I think this is the 3rd edition, the basic rule book. I believe you can get this off the internet on a PDF file. I printed the whole thing in a rule book. This is for everybody, to when they, want to say this rule, that rule. And, it's got some basic items in there. Stuff like that. You can get that off of the internet that I got for free from their website. You can only get up to this version, which I believe is the 3rd edition, for free. The other editions you do have to pay for. But I think the 3rd edition sufficed for me. I really don't need like any more rules or anything like that. I mean, this is enough right here. I always say, use common logic and common sense. So
do people even have common sense these days?
I don't know, but I'm trying to work on that with using these D&D skills because I play with my youngest child. My youngest is 15, so they're a bunch of freshmen. So we play together, and my husband, and we try to get other adults involved. My oldest child, she didn't want to play. She's like, you're a dork, But hey. I tried to get her involved. That's all I can say. Let me see. I also have some villains books because we got to have good villains. You just can't go without some good villainry. I also have, I like the additional guides in the 5th edition now. I really do like this one from the 5th edition. If you're gonna buy stuff from the 5th edition, besides the player's handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide and a Monster Compendium, if there is one more book, if there's a 4th book that you really need to have, it's definitely this one because it's got a lot of extra items in there, and I really like to throw in some items. I really don't think using the same items over and over again is fun, so throw in a little extra treasures for the kids to find. They always like something a little extra, something to fight about over who killed the monster, or who can use it the most, or who can use it the best. But we also build our own character binders. Like I make my own maps and my own like graphs for the maps. Like here's a sample of like one of my little maps that I made. And then I made a bunch of grids. I laminated them, and I'm currently using the laminated grids for monster encounters and stuff like that. Just your basic D&D monsters, nothing too crazy or out of the ordinary. And then my players, anybody who's in the guild that's joining us, everybody gets their own binder, and each binder they have different tabs. So they have their spells, they have their maps, so everybody gets a copy of their map so they know what they're doing and where they're at, or where they want to go. There's a section where if they kill a monster, I give them the sheet. So they got their villains. If they kill a villain, I got the sheet for the villains. And then, of course, their sheets. So everybody gets their own little binder. Everybody gets their own dice. Basically, use your imagination. You don't have to invest too much money. It's a good tool for kids. I really do suggest Dungeons and Dragons for kids that are like maybe 13 and up. If you think your kids can handle a little younger, I wouldn't suggest younger because they're not going to want to sit there and go through all the mechanics and the steps. But I think when they hit about 13, 14 years old, it also helps for critical role-playing thinking skills for kids about that age. They need to learn about social skills as well. I do find D&D to help with that. So the kids, they like to come over and, we order food, or I'll make a bunch of food and we play D&D. I do want to check out, Varg from Burzum. He wrote his own series of role-playing games. I'm going to be collecting his books next, and probably just playing small campaigns off of that with probably just my husband and maybe one more other person. I'm probably not going to invite the teenagers to that because sometimes they get a little out of control and I just have to like pipe them down. I don't think I can handle starting another campaign in a different game with them because they're just going to go crazy. But for the most part, that's like my gaming history. Go Castle, I guess. Castle was an awesome game as well.
Fair enough. Yeah, lots of good games there. It's cool to switch it up from to kind of like the modern stuff to like board games and like old that Vision one you said. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, really cool stuff. Thanks for sharing what some of your gaming experiences are with us and some of your favorite stuff to play are. So Trez from Total Metal Rejection isn't going to be able to make it tonight. He's got some stuff going on in his business right now. It's just going to be the three of us and potentially Azag around the end of it. So as for me, so my favorite video games are, let's see here. Like I've got tons of them, but the ones I played the most were probably going back as Jessica, and that being like Street Fighter, or its Sega Genesis equivalent being Mortal Kombat. I've been a huge Kombat fan for years, ever since the first one came out. Really enjoyed it, and pretty much just have to collect every Mortal Kombat game that comes out on whatever system. But yeah, really enjoyed that series. I saw the trailer for and looks pretty brutal. Not really a fan of the song they chose to play for the trailer. Don't know why. They figured rap would be good for like a bloody horror video game, but whatever. I like H7's remix that he did with, I think he put some of the underlined music on it instead. That was actually a better fit for the trailer. But yeah. Another good game never really got as much like recognition was Eternal Champions. It was sort of like Street Fighter and sort of like more much blood, but it was really, really good. I think it might have been on Genesis only, but I think it might have also ended up getting either a Super Nintendo or an N64 equivalent. But yeah, Eternal Champions was sort of along that fighter beat 'em up style. But yeah, after that in high school, I started getting more into the Halo games when they started. Was revolutionary back in the day. At least it was for me. I'd sit and play for hours, multiplayer, and blowing up each other's tanks and like running each other over in the banshees and shit like that, and like whacking them in the back of the head and killing them with the freaking gun, shooting them because I was terrible at aiming because I couldn't aim worth dick. But yeah, that was like another huge game for me, Halo back in the day. Also enjoyed things like Grand Theft Auto. I think Grand Theft Auto 3, one where it stopped being like a face down kind of game to like a world roaming game and with your actual sprite standing up in like a third person view. But yeah, really sweet. I played a lot of that. Crashed a lot of cars, killed a lot of hookers, stole a bunch of cop cars, game, gotta say. And then just like all the other sequels that came after it. I think pretty much everyone's played San Andreas one. Like such a good storyline. The gangstery element of it was kind of amusing. All of your friends in the game was clearly Easy E and Biggie Smalls. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I liked playing that game a lot. I think after that, after I like Halo and Grand Theft Auto, I started playing the Sims game on computer because my girlfriend at the time into it, and I'd never really played any like computer kind of games. And I think back with Sims and Sims Pets and Sims something else. I don't know, but yeah, like the Sims 2 and Sims where you could start like actually building your own house and like modifying like how big it was and adding in floors and stuff like that. That was like a big thing for me. I know when I used to work security, my buddy John Burnett, who is the other security guard that worked on overnights with me, he'd constantly between like patrols, he'd be playing his Sims game on his laptop and whatnot, and not really a very manly video game, I guess, whatever, because you'd have a family and you'd be making a house and you'd make indoor custom like housing stuff like that and making it look all pretty. But it was a pretty interesting options. You could add like hacks and custom content to it, so you could make your butler and your maid get married, have kids in it, and you could save that house and then make a new family and then make them meet each other because your character walk up and down the streets. So that was neat. I always make my characters look like the characters from the book I'm writing, the Emerald Spade series, and kind of like pretend that my characters are coming to life that way. So that was kind of neat. But then once like seeing some of my buddies play Warcraft, I definitely got into that a lot more. And yeah, I'm more of an alliance guy. I know there's a lot of people that are more like horde all the way. I know George Corpse Grinder is a horde type of dude, but I'm more of I don't know. I like order and lawfulness and stuff like that. So the whole chaos and appealed to me. But yeah, so those are a couple of older games that I used to play. Too, though, definitely check out Subnautica. It's basically like a underwater survival adventure game. I saw a guy and Markiplier playing it at first, and then I ended up seeing the IGP guy playing it, which is Indie Games Promotion. He's a pretty good gaming channel, really funny. He freaks out a lot about like things popping up on his screen, and he overreacts a bit, but it's very, very amusing for sure. Subnautica's pretty good, and I recently got into kind of like another building game, but it's not really building, you're just kind of designing rooms and stuff. What I'm talking about is called 2 Point Hospital. It's kind of neat. You've got patients and you got to cure different diseases, but you also got to run the hospital efficiently. You have to hire nurses, you got to hire doctors, you got to hire practitioners and therapists. But then the design can be designed interestingly too, and there's levels that you have to go through and keep your eye on all the patients and shit, because they can die if you're not diagnosing them properly, and they come in with the fucking weirdest diseases, like one of lightheadedness, and you have these patients coming in with like a giant light bulb for a head, and you have to like figure out how to cure them for that. One of the weird diseases is also like starstruck or something like that, and all the people think they're fucking Freddie Mercury or Elvis, and they're walking around like, it's pretty funny. But yeah, I enjoy stuff like that. I've got a couple of rage quit videos on my channel, like really, really old stuff, but playing through, I think, one of the modern warfares are called Ghost, and I'm like just failing so hardcore and getting shot a million times and flipping out. Then there's also Dead Rising. I also played that on this channel and did some rage quits for that. Some of it's all right, some of it's a bit like just the biggest sons of bitches ever, and you can't beat them. At least I couldn't, and I just rage quit. I'm sure there's a couple of Halo rage quits, but highest difficulty setting ever, just see how quickly it pisses me off, because that's funny. But yeah, my favorite genre of video game used to be the kind of like player versus player beat 'em up style, like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Started enjoying the adventure games a little more, so stuff like Zelda. We recently last year got the Super Nintendo Classic, which is like this teeny little version of the Super Nintendo that comes with like 30 or 40 games on it, and the original Link to the Past Zelda was on there. I think there was like another one too, but that was really cool. Definitely finished that. There's obviously Mario, any of the Mario games, like Mario 64 is probably the best one. Arena of Time, Zelda 1. Definitely need to get my hands on a copy of that somehow. It was pretty cool. Yeah, but yeah, besides like the beat 'em up style, I ended up getting into the adventure style games. Yeah, definitely a Nintendo nerd. Like, I don't think I ever owned a PlayStation or anything like that. I had a Nintendo, and then a Super, and the N64. I think I had the Sega Genesis and N64 around the same time. And then I moved to an Xbox. So yeah, I didn't ever kind of get into the PlayStation ones. I don't know why. It just sat with me. Never saw a reason to get PlayStation. Altered Beast was your Genesis. Oh, that's cool, Edgar. I actually wouldn't mind playing Altered Beast. It looks like it was fucking hard, but like, kind of a classic as well. Souls, Tyler Brummett says, yeah, one of my old band members used to play Demon Souls, and I couldn't get past the fucking first level skeletons. So that's definitely not a game for me. This is the part where people would be like, get good. I'll probably in sooner or later, but got a lot of like channel stuff that I want to do, and a lot more music that I want to create next year as well. Maybe, you know, fast tracking like another Drakir release for 2019. Maybe working for EP, and then I also got to finish that Jawtopsy demo. Unfortunately, my drum all the way up to Brampton, so he's no longer part of the project. So once again, it's just me. But hey, I'm still gonna try and finish that demo and release it when I can. I can't really think of anything else for gaming. There's so many that I could name off, though. What do you guys think of video games based on movies? Game or the Green Lantern game, or stuff like that?
You know, you broke up when you spoke. What did you say?
Wondering what you guys saw video games that are based on movies. Do you find that they're garbage, or do you find that they translate all right?
I've never played a video game that was based on a movie, I guess. I've never played one.
Well, there's Thor one, there's a Green Lantern one. I have both, by the way. Can't think of too many, but I know a lot of people don't really consider based on movies because they're not normally like thought out that well. They're not really, you know, much of a like quality content thought process. They're because they want to have some more cash grabs for the movie and whatnot. So actually 72 or 72nd Human mentioned the new Friday the 13th game. The wife and me have been playing that quite a bit the last couple of months. We ended up getting it, I think, 2 months ago.
What game?
Full 62 now, but yeah, it's good. It's a good game, but man, it glitches so much.
What game are you talking about?
Friday the 13th.
Oh fuck! Don't even talk about that game around me. I've been dying to play that game for when it first came out. Almost said years.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's good.
Actually,
it's good.
Glitchy as fuck.
It's just like very glitchy, and like if you're Jason, it's hard sometimes to catch the counselors, and there's a lot of different like things that make it handicap different levels of like abilities you can get as a counselor to stop getting caught by.
Honestly, from movies, I don't really know many actually. I mean, unless you would consider this game after the first movie, basically, then yeah. But the Naruto games are actually based off the show, the games themselves.
Right.
So I'm okay with that. Like I said, I've been dying to play Friday the 13th, but I've been playing a game called Dead by Daylight. That's a pretty good game. You should definitely try it out. Yeah, I mean, if you're into playing as a survivor, there's 4 of you guys trying to activate generators. If you're playing as a killer, you're just by yourself. But they have, and I just found out, they have a new killer coming in. which I cannot wait to play as. An interesting game I've been dying to play, but I have watched it on YouTube. Are you familiar with the movie called Starship Troopers?
Yep.
They actually have a game for it on PC.
Nice.
I'll have to send you the guys' videos because they're like phenomenal. Like, I can't believe that one game has caught my interest like that one.
That's cool. Starship Troopers, at least the first movie, was pretty decent. I don't know. Some people might consider it like a sci-fi B movie, but I don't know. I liked it. It could be better, but who cares? It's one of those movies that's kind of like a guilty pleasure. You know it's bad, but you say it.
I think the second one was terrible, to be bluntly honest. It was
probably
bad. The third one was better than the second one. But
well, I got a question for you guys. What do you guys think about movies that are based on video games?
oof. All I can say is I'm still waiting for Gears of War. The people behind Epic Games were talking about making it into a movie, which would actually be awesome because I would love to see how the locusts look.
I didn't hear the what as a game or a movie? What?
If somebody was to make like an actual video game, so let's say, fuck, now I gotta figure out what I'm gonna talk about. Like, let's say they make this game into a movie.
Right.
Would you be interested in watching it, or how would you feel about it? To be honest with you, I'd love to see the movie out of that one.
I think the games in the movies is better than movies in the games.
Fair enough.
I actually got a movie for you, Jessica, that you might like. I just don't know where I have it at. I'll have to send you a picture of it, but I
Send
actually
it
have the movie
away.
World of Warcraft, the movie itself.
That sounds interesting.
Oh, it is. It is.
It didn't
They could have done.
it didn't get the greatest critic rating, and it was kind of shit on by quite a few people. But like, I enjoyed the movie. The wife enjoyed the movie. We ended up picking up a copy on DVD. I don't know if it helped to be like a Warcraft first before you see the movie, or if it could be better just to see the movie as it is without any knowledge. Because for me, just happy that there was a World of Warcraft movie. I didn't really care if it paid too much attention
There it
to
is.
like lore or like, I don't know, acting wasn't the best or whatever. Like I said, I was just happy that there was one.
Actually, it's called Warcraft, but yeah, this is it right here.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Another movie you probably haven't seen on my old channel, but I'm kind of a huge Halo nerd, so no one can argue with me on this one. This one, actually, this is a very good movie. I really wish I had a TV. I'd be watching it tonight. But it depends on who makes the movie, to be honest with you. Because I think they had the Assassin's Creed movie out, and my buddy said it was not too great of a movie. So I think it really depends on who directs the movies.
Most definitely.
Speaking of video games that became movies, I know it's kind of like up and down, but the Resident Evil series wasn't too bad in my mind. Like, they kind of didn't really pay too much attention to the source material or really do, I guess, exactly what people wanted, but it was an all right, video game movie series. Movie made back in the day. It's kind of hard to find, and it's kind of horrible, but it definitely brings that nostalgia, flooding back if you see it. It's pretty good. Like Van Damme scenes are all right. The actor was speed thing, M. Bison was. Like I said, some of the acting wasn't the greatest, but it's definitely very nostalgic. Then there was like the Legend of Lee, a racing character in that one. I didn't understand why the fuck he was blonde. M. Bison isn't blonde, but hey. But other than that, it was an all right movie. New one that came out. I haven't gotten that one yet, but I wouldn't mind seeing it. I don't know if it's no.
Wasn't there a game in the movie called Warriors? Because I remember that name for some reason.
The Warriors was a movie. I don't know if it had anything to do with the video game, though.
No, but I knew there was a video game for it, so that's why I was just wondering. It's like, man, I know there was another game that was a movie too. No, I honestly think they separate the Resident Evil games in the movies, but I think the only certain characters they brought in was like, Chris Redfield, Claire Redfield, Leon Kennedy, Albert Wesker, which is an actual playable character in Revelations 2 in raid mode. So is Hunk.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I always play as Wesker for some reason. But a movie I would love to see them do is an Operation Raccoon City movie. Just basically focus more on the USS, which stands for Umbrella Security Service. I would actually love to see that.
Interesting for sure. They are rebooting the Resident Evil series though as a movie. Did you see those rumors?
No, I haven't. No, the only rumors I've been seeing was Pirates of the Caribbean, but that lost my interest once they said Johnny Depp was no longer going to be playing as Sparrow. So I kind of lost interest in watching that series.
Oh, okay.
But no, that would be cool to see that movie come out.
Have you ever seen the really old double?
No, not that I know of.
Oh no, no.
No.
It was a thing that exists. It wasn't that great. I'd say it was worse than the Street Fighter movie. That's for sure. But if you can find it, it's definitely something to check out for sure. Just to seen it. It's and there's some things in it that are definitely that make it dated, especially the giant kind of like brawler kind of thing that they end up like creating. I don't know why they do it like that. It was like practical effects, and the guy just has like this giant head and like giant muscles, but you can tell it's like because the practical effects aren't really that good on it. And then thinking of the movie, the like become one character or something like that, and it's really weird. Yeah, but it's definitely worth watching it. And then of course
another
Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh yeah, I love the Mortal Kombat movie. Actually, I was going to ask you, who is your favorite character? Like, out all the Mortal Kombat games, who's your favorite character? You could pick actually 3 if you wanted to.
My favorite Mortal Kombat characters?
Just to spice it up.
Well, I like Cabal. He was always one of my favorite ones, just because he looked so weird and he had that like creepy mask thing on, and he's like all burnt and shit. But then like those hook swords he had, they're fucking awesome. You just go up to someone, like grab them and swim.
I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And then he could like zoom by and like spin the character around really fast, and you could, it would like, or like an uppercut. Like he had some pretty sick moves, and then he could like summon like a saw blade that came on the floor. Really sick moves too. Like I think I liked them a lot. But yeah, besides Cabal, Nightwolf was another one. I really like.
That's an interesting, very interesting character.
Well, it's you know, I'm native, so I kind of gravitate towards him. Like that plasma hatchet thing was pretty cool. Like he'd uppercut someone with like a plasma hatchet. Like holy shit, that's cool. And then he had like that like soul. He'd like grab you and like suck it out, and you're like ah. Besides those two, I don't know, maybe Noob Saibot. Noob Saibot was always pretty interesting to me. Noob Saibot eventually ended up becoming the original Sub-Zero, and the Sub-Zero you play with is actually Sub-Zero's brother. So I guess once he died, like the original Sub-Zero died in the first Mortal Kombat, and ended up becoming Noob Saibot, but you don't find that out until I think Mortal Kombat 4 or 5 or something. With him, and do a bonus one. I always liked Ermac too. I like his outfit, kind of like that red ninja looking thing, but then also had like those like telepathic powers. He could like levitate you and then slam you down on the ground, or he could like punch you from the opposite side of the screen. Glowing things would show up, and you'd be like,
Actually, that's in Mortal Kombat X too. They actually have him in there. Here is an original character, because in my video for the Metalhead box, I actually said something. I forgot what band it was. The guy looked like Shao Kahn. Literally Shao Kahn. Like that's the first thing that went through my head. Shao Kahn was like, I don't know if you played as him, but if you did, he was actually one of my favorites. Only because he was the ruler and stuff. And well, he had a nice helmet on, so. My second favorite is a lot of people don't see this coming, but Raiden. I kind of like Raiden a lot because he has that thunder. He likes to control thunder and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's got the lightning bolts that he could shoot, and then he can do that get back in the fucking car, like flying thing across the screen.
Yep, that made me laugh. Here's an interesting one. If anybody plays in the comments, if you guys play Mortal Kombat X, you probably don't know who I'm talking about. Triborg, which is basically Smoke. I think it's Cyrax, and I forgot the red guy's name. I don't remember his name, but there were like 3 robots.
Sector?
Yeah, that's probably him, if he's red.
Yeah, that's Sector.
Yeah, Sector. Those were like, those 3 right there were just, in Mortal Kombat X, if you're doing a fatality, all 3 of them are in it. Don't matter which character you chose.
No.
Bonus, because since you put bonus out there,
Yep.
I would have to say it is a match between these 3 characters, but I'm only going to put them out there. Scorpion.
Nice.
Because Scorpion, he has a unique backstory to him. So.
Yeah, Hanzo Hayashi or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Basically, Quan Chi did whatever the fuck he did to him, you know?
Yeah. Tyler Brummett says Scorpion is overpowered to a certain point, but he's overpowered, but he's also very predictable. Like, if you it might take you a couple of times to die first, but once you figure out what he does, you can counter him, and pretty much he'll try to do that like
Get over here
thing. Either get you with it, and if he doesn't get you with it, he'll teleport behind you and try to punch you in the back. So basically, you just have to block it, and as soon as you just have to turn around and block again, because he'll try to like get you with the spear or teleport and punch you in the back. And then if you block it like that, you can counter with an uppercut every time. He basically becomes predictable. But you just have to die a few times to figure out his pattern. You can't just button mash through Scorpion. A button mash for those player versus player games. Hey, Black Metal Rebellion, it's your fan Ren. Oh, hi Ren. Did we meet on another social media platform? Because I'm not sure. I know who you are, but sorry.
Who said the Scorpion was overpowered?
Tyler Brummett.
Tyler Brummett? Wow. How do you feel about Quan Chi? You think he's overpowered, or you think he's just what did my friend call him?
I think
an asshole.
He's probably an asshole for sure, but I think he's also a very underrated character. I don't think too many people think him or think about him much in general. He played a big part in the
Deadly Alliance
N64 N64 Sub-Zero game. Like he was like a big kind of like he was on your side, but he kind of also wasn't. I can't remember what though.
I know in Deadly Alliance, him and Shang Tsung killed Shao Kahn together. Actually, I wonder whatever happened to Shang Tsung, actually. Did he get killed by Quan Chi?
I thought he got killed by Liu Kang.
Oh, I think that was... yeah. That's probably who killed him.
I know
I forgot what game.
I know
yeah, it was the zombie version of him, killed him probably.
Yeah, the zombie Liu Kang killed him, I think. And Armageddon.
You can't forget what was his fucking name? Goro, I think his name was. The forearm fighter from the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy that Johnny Cage punches in the nuts.
That's it. I think he's basically underrated because a couple of my friends I play with, they don't use him at all. They'll either use Quan Chi, Raiden, or they'll use Alien and Predator that's in the game. Which I was actually amazed they actually put that in the game finally.
Fair enough. What happened to Shu?
What happened?
I said, whatever happened to Shu Jinku? He was part of the Deadly Alliance storyline and then disappeared. I think he might have been in Armageddon after that, but that was just like they put that, so that doesn't really count.
They probably just removed them.
Like, because he had a storyline in Deadly Alliance or whatever, or was it Deception?
I don't know.
Anyways, one of those, and he had a huge storyline, and you were basically him as a kid, and then as a teenager, and then as like an old man, and yeah, like him versus the Dragon King was kind of like the huge thing, and then you never heard about him after that. I'm like, what the fuck? Why would they build up all this backstory for this random new character and then just forget about him? Like,
maybe they have him. Maybe they're saving them for the next game. Actually,
well, I don't think he's going to be in Mortal Kombat 11.
No. Got a question for you. What do you think of Reptile?
Reptile's cool. He was He was originally just a secret character for the first Mortal Kombat. And it was just like a palette swap of the Scorpion and Sub-Zero character. He eventually got like a story and a new outfit, and became a Soren character. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, they have him in Mortal Kombat X as a reptile, but not as human form, which should have been an actual skin form.
But yeah, he's got some pretty interesting powers. He's got the acid spit. He's got invisibility. He's got those like green orb balls that kind of slowly float towards you. You can't properly jump over it because it goes too slow, and then you land on it and die anyways.
But yeah, if you get Mortal Kombat, go find the it's called Mortal Kombat XL. You get all the DLC characters, and one of my favorite fatalities in that game is when you're playing as the alien, and then I forgot what it was called. Forgot what the fatality is called, but basically the mother alien comes into play and rips, I guess, the actual opponent in the chest and rips them apart. So
for
Mortal Kombat X.
X, right. I don't know if I have that game or not. I swear to God.
Definitely get it because they have Leatherface and Jason in it. Big time.
Yeah. Fuck. I'm confused now. I don't know if I actually have Mortal Kombat X. Which was the one that had Freddy in it?
Oh shit. I haven't even played that one. That one I actually have been wanting to play for a while.
Was that Mortal Kombat 9?
I think so. I don't know. I might have to look that up tonight.
Well, I mean, we've got a half an hour left. We can keep talking about video games, or we can try to squeeze Thrash stuff.
We might as well squeeze the Thrash stuff in. Try to make a 2-part for this live stream.
Yeah. All right. So, try to squeeze, guys. We've been ranting about video games for a while now. Kind of got wrapped up in Mortal Kombat, but hey, that's fun. So yeah, we're gonna try and talk about some Thrash now. Talk about our favorite Thrash bands. Jessica hasn't really had too much to say here because we've been rambling on about Mortal Kombat. So I guess I'll throw it over to you, Jessica. Let us know what some of your favorite Thrash bands are. Maybe let us know what your favorite of the big four are, and maybe the Teutonic four in Germany, and maybe any others you feel promote.
Well, I definitely like Thrash, of course, obviously, from the 80s. Most of the 80s Thrash is probably my favorite era of Thrash for the most part. I mostly listen to Thrash from that era. Destruction, of course, Sodom. I love Sodom, Destruction. Creator, oh my God, I've seen Creator. I can't even count how many times I've seen Creator. I absolutely love German Thrash. Like if I were to say a European Thrash country, I would say the most solid Thrash was coming out of like Germany. Most definitely German Thrash is my favorite from Europe. But American Thrash is very solid as well. I love Thrash across the board, no matter what country it comes from. Love this. I love the speed of the guitar. You know, Thrash can have that speed. The solos can be outrageously crazy with finger picking and just a lot of speed behind that Thrash and power behind the chords. A lot of power chords in the Thrash. Really clean guitars. You know, Thrash is not really dirty. That's one good acceptable thing about Thrash over some of the other genres of metal is to have a little bit more cleanliness to the guitars is fully acceptable with Thrash.
Yeah.
Most definitely. You can definitely have Thrash with good produced guitars, definitely. the bass really does keep the pace in the thrash metal for the most part. That's the bass, and the percussions are for keeping the timing for guitars, moving at that pace. You still need some timing. I don't care what anybody says, how fast you're moving along. You still need something to give you a good back count, and you need a good bass line and a good percussion to keep time. Thrash is definitely one of the most classic genres of metal. It's one of the older genres of metal. I would definitely say it started in the 80s, in the 70s, actually. You got Thin Lizzy. I mean, come on. That had to be the advent, of the awakening of a more fast-paced. The vocals aren't pretty. They're not dirty, but they're not pretty. They don't have to be. Yeah, I like power thrash too. I obviously Iron Maiden. Oh my gosh, I was raised on Iron Maiden. I remember the day Number of the Beast came out, because my uncle came home from Cruisin' Musics on Archer Avenue with a copy, and of course he had to spin it 6 times in a row. And I remember the day it came home to our home. So I've always loved Bruce Dickinson. I mean, power thrash, who can't go wrong with that?
Yep.
In the 70s, you also had something like Little Feat, UFO. I love UFO. I mean, you really wouldn't have the thrash bands that you have without those bands, in Rainbow, Black Sabbath, even. A lot of those bands had a lot of influence to do with more of the 80s, kind of carried it into, kind of formulated the thrash. The 70s had kind of the birthing and the genesis, like with those bands that I just mentioned. You couldn't have Dio without Rainbow, most definitely. Of course, Ronnie James Dio's first band, Elf, if anybody's ever heard of it, that is some underground stuff right there.
Yeah, I never heard of Elf. I've only known of his band Rainbow. Was he in Dinosaur Jr. too?
I don't know. I believe so, maybe, or maybe he did a cameo. I'm not too sure about that. But I do know Elf was early 70s, way early 70s. And you would definitely have to check out lots of 70s music carried over into the 80s, and then that's when we started to call it thrash for the most part.
Fair enough.
And
Elf is kind of a funny name too, considering how short Dio was.
Yes. I mean, like I said, you wouldn't have what we know now today. Like some of the people in the chat are mentioning, Megadeth. I absolutely love Megadeth. They sent us one of those Megadeth pins. I got one of the Megadeth pins. I put it on there. I loved Megadeth. Killing Is My Business is my favorite Megadeth album, by the way. I will play that all day long. I love that album. I don't care what anybody says. Mechanics, I kind of, like that version. But of course, I'm always big time into the German
nice
thrash. I mean, I just love this stuff. I can't get enough of it. Every time Destruction and Creator come to Chicago, I have to go see them. It doesn't matter.
Hell yeah.
I'll take that day off of work. I'll save up extra cash, work some overtime, whatever I got to do, beg, borrow, steal. I'm going to be there. I'm going to take the train. I'll even walk. It doesn't matter. Come rain or shine, I'm coming to see them. Some of the best shows I've ever seen. I saw both Creator and Destruction play at Malo's in Aurora, Illinois in 1990. I don't know, 1990 something. But
Yep.
it was just it was an amazing show to see both those bands play together, and I got to hang out with those both bands that night, and we were talking about they were telling me that they toured all the time, because I was like, this is great that two of my favorites, okay, I'm gonna repeat, my favorite German thrash metal bands are on tour. I mean, you can't go wrong. Can you go wrong with that? I mean, no, you can't. On tour together, and they were like, well, we do this all the time in Europe. Yes, this is the first time we're going to be, bringing it to you guys, but we've done it over and over again. And apparently they've done tours together to raise money to fight racism in Europe.
Yeah.
Together. So I was very intrigued that that we were talking about, they were talking about the United States, and the big difference of how the United States is compared to Germany. Now you have to remember, this is in the 90s that that this show had taken place. So you have to imagine the world has changed tremendously since then. Tremendously. And I mean, to talk to somebody from Germany after the wall fell and understand that thrash is very political. I mean, out of all the metal genres, if you want to talk about your bad government, it's always acceptable in the thrash genre. I mean, most people can agree with me with that, right, Jesse?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, those guys are very, political in their own country, and they they were saying how the United States is, crooked, and, not telling it how it is. And, it was very nice to get to meet, one of my favorites of all times in a little rinky-dink club with packed about a couple hundred people. But it was a great experience, and I'll never forget it. And I mean, I absolutely, I have to say, I love Doro and Warlock. There we go. Out of Germany again. I love Germany. Now on to the American. There was Slayer in the 1980s. When I was younger, one of my uncles, a lot of my uncles were into metal, but one of my uncles, he went to the first Milwaukee Metal Fests. The very first one he didn't go to was the first one that I actually went to. So he went from the first one, like I think it was like 1984 to 91, and I went to 92. So he had seen Slayer many times. So he brought it home. And I was like, wow, what is this? I'd already heard Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, I mean, UFO, I mean, all kinds of stuff. But Slayer had brought that satanic element to it, and that crypticness to it, and and it intrigued me, and I was like, this didn't have the political edge to it, but I liked Slayer, definitely a lot in the 1980s. So, and then Sanctuary, I do like some of the more technical, more fancy stuff. Sanctuary and Nasty Savage. Who doesn't like Nasty Savage? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Definitely. And Sabotage, I love Sabotage. Oh my gosh, I could play that all day long. Definitely, that shit's smoking hot. But I'm gonna hand it off to one of you guys. I mean, I'm here rambling on, reminiscing about stuff that, personal stuff. So go ahead. I want to hear from some of you guys. I don't want to hog it all.
I know it's fine.
No worries.
Actually, we were, be honest with you, it's only fair that we did it.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys kind of lost me with some of the games. I was just like, what? Who?
Understandable.
Well, I had to have a couple bathroom breaks, and then one of my children want to interrupt. So
Mm.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't heard one of my guys like yelling and screaming in the background yet.
yeah, well, mine are grown up. They should know better. Yours are young.
Yeah, they're still toddlers.
Oh man, you better soak that up. I'm telling you that right now. You think the
Really?
terrible
'Cause
twos are bad? Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the days when they're teenagers and want to ignore me and sit in their room.
Because when you ask them to do something, right? Like chores, like things they should do, like go to school.
Oh God.
Right. But anyways, enough
Hey,
about children. Thrash metal, and I discovered a lot of good thrash when coming up. It helped me as a kid, Megadeth was a big influence for me when I was younger. I liked Megadeth a lot. I didn't like the way Megadeth went in the 90s. I went to the Clash of the Titans tour, and I got to see them here in Illinois, and we were just ripping up the grass and throwing it everywhere, and Alice in Chains opened up for Clash of the Titans, and they were just taking grass and just throwing it up there. They got booed off the stage. They were not well received. Yeah, they were not well received by the crowd at all. People were calling them like grunge at the time, and people were afraid they were trying to distort the scene. So people were just taking side and just hawking it on the stage and booing them off. And it was terrible. But it was a good time though. Clash of the Titans. It was a good tour. 1991, the summer of '91. But all in all, thrash metal is one of the genres I would hold near and dear to my heart. You wouldn't have like a lot of Black Death bands without thrash. I don't care what anybody says. There's a lot of thrashy influence between a lot of Black Death bands. Sodom is a huge influence in that genre. I mean, I love Sodom, always will. Sadist was an awesome band. I love Sadist. That is definitely another thrash attack band right there. You definitely if you haven't heard Sadist, you got to check that. Another band coming out of Germany. You got to check out a lot of those bands from the 80s, and Sadist was in the early 90s as well.
Cool. So Husk, what are some of your favorite thrash bands? What are some of your favorites from the Big Four and the Teutonic Four in Germany?
Well, I got 3 CDs right now. I'm looking at it right now, so I might as well go through them. All of these are actually from the Metalhead box, but first band is Estador, Buried in Morningside. I actually love this album from this band. I have to say one of my favorite songs was Tombs of the Satanic Templars. I actually love that song from these guys. And honestly, I have to agree with Jessica. Thrash metal is a interesting genre. To be honest with you, if I was stuck on an island for the rest of my life, it would be only thrash bands.
Yeah, fair enough, man.
This band, I was actually glad to get because these guys are from the UK. Eradicator, Edge of Humanity. I love this fucking album from them. And
Cool.
number 5, which is Seasons of Rage, is a pretty awesome song. If you haven't heard of this yet, Jesse, definitely check them out. They are a fucking phenomenal band. And you might know this band very well. Hazard,
Which one's that?
Hazard, Misleading Evil.
Oh, Hazard. Yeah, Hazard's fantastic.
Yeah, I like this whole album completely. I actually want to get a shirt of theirs, of this artwork. But yeah, interesting thrash band. To be honest with you, if we're talking about like the big four for the US or like American thrash bands, and then the big four from like Europe, I only have to say, because I do like Slayer still, I noticed I've been leaning off of Slayer more and going on to more of Anthrax, which Anthrax is a badass band. I forgot what album I have from them, but I love that album. It's an old song. You probably know the name of it. I think it's called Madhouse from Anthrax.
Yep.
That was a good
All
song.
that song.
The Devil, what was it? The Devil You Know is a pretty good song from them. That's like more of their older, like the newest stuff they have out. That's a good song. Who can go wrong with Scott Ian's backup vocals, right?
Yeah.
Slayer, I don't know what happened between me liking them. I think I only like a certain amount of albums from them, and then like the newest stuff I just toss away. Which I had the Repentless album patch on my jacket, but it's kind of hard to keep up with Slayer when you got other bands to listen to, you know? Megadeth, I don't know. Like Sympathy to Destruction, that's it for me. That whole album was just that one album I liked. Metallica, I know I could get back into Metallica. I actually got a Guitar Hero game with like their song set, which is a Guitar Hero Metallica edition.
Yeah, there's one of those, yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. Orion was actually a good instrumental song they made. Big time. But I think the only bands I really listen to now is like Anthrax and somewhat Metallica, like the thrash version of Metallica.
Yeah, so like the first 3 albums.
Mm-hmm. From Europe, I have to agree with Jessica on this one. Creator is a phenomenal band, for sure. Actually, I honestly believe they got some good songs. Hail to the Horde, I think it's called, was a great song from them. But I really don't know many of the big four thrash metal bands from Europe. But to be honest with you, I'm not much into like the big fours. I'm into like more of the underground bands not known, like Over Thrash. You have, and it's sad because I do not have the names of the bands towards me, so honestly, I think Creator is the only one of the big four bands from Europe I listen to, so.
You know what? I brought out a little gem that it survived a fire. You know, I lost a lot of stuff in a fire, but I was so grateful to be able to have this survive, because this is an original pressing.
Nice.
It was made in West Germany. I've had it since it came out. I bought this. I believe it was like 1987, 6, 7. I don't remember, but it's white vinyl.
Nice.
It's from Steamhammer. So
yeah, they didn't start making different colored vinyl until like the later 90s.
Yeah, this is 1987. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised they had colored vinyl back then.
Yeah, 1987. That's what this one is. So I was just lucky enough that it survived. Not a lot survived, but this came out of a good memory. So when you said thrash metal earlier, I was so excited because this is just my piece of cake, you know. Thrash metal really brought me through a lot in my life. Um, it was probably one of the introductory genres that I think most people come to find in their lives that can really make a difference, and it helps formulate a taste in metal because it's clean and productive. You present thrash metal to somebody really young, it's got a lot of energy. They like the energy. I mean, look, Suicidal Tendencies, they started out as a punk band, but progressively became a thrash band. Look what it did for them. Honestly, I will always love the first album, the Suicidal Tendencies self-titled album. But you know, they also grew as a band with their thrash as well. You know, it just shows that thrash metal had started to make a change in the 1980s, enough to influence even punk bands to want to jump ship. That's why we had crossover bands like DRI.
Yep.
You have crossover bands, SOD and MOD, that kind of had the punk inspirations with the hardcore thrash riffing and speed and energy and drumming for the most part. As you can see, thrash had taken metal music. If you can take thrash as a genesis category, I would definitely say so, because you really took thrash here, and then you had crossover, which also had hardcore. I mean, you really wouldn't have those genres without thrash. But then you have power thrash that also formulated some lots of power bands that have a lot of thrashy influences to it. And then you have I really think that a lot of Black Death bands are highly influenced with thrashy riffing. They might be toned down or dirtier toning, but it's definitely, you can tell that a lot of bands of the Black Death genre are highly influenced from the 1980s, early 90s. Thrash influences are behind them. You ask anybody who plays in these genres of music, and who they're gonna rattle off. You know, I mean, you're gonna Destruction. I mean, definitely, come on, Sodom. You know, I mean, it's gonna be mentioned. You know, it's gonna be out there. But for the most part, thrash metal is and will always be a genre that is going to be strong and always producing metal that is at the forefront. There's a lot of new thrash bands that are up and coming out there that are bringing back some of the old sounds, and even a little bit of the crossovers into the hardcore sound and feel, making it and taking it back to the 1988 ripped jeans era, you know, Chuck Taylor shoes and a jean jacket and some, you know, a good time and a lot of energy. And it's just, that's how thrash metal is and was and always will be, because I don't think a thrash is going to die. Thrash is here to stay. Thrash is going to always be a genre of metal that stays strong. Some of them might come and go and fade, but that is definitely a genre that is not going anywhere. And I hope the panel agrees. Agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think thrash is gonna be like a staple point in metal that's never gonna fully fade away. It influenced way bands. It influenced too many different genres. Like you said, like black metal took a lot of influence from thrash. riffs and different stylings like that, with maybe a little bit of death metal influence sprinkled in here and there. And yeah, Thrash like the answer to punk back in the day too, because besides punk, there was only kind of like just rock bands, and the new wave of British heavy metal kind of just started coming in when punk was getting pretty strong. And then thrash was kind of punk, and they just started like the 3-chord punk riffs and just making them really, really fast and adding in tremolos on top of that. And then also including and some blast beats here and there. But yeah, it just kind of upped the ante from the punk and new wave of British heavy metal back in the day. And they even influenced punk to start the hardcore scene, and that eventually turned from the hardcore into the crossover that we know now, like Municipal Waste and, like you said, DRI and bands like that. So I influenced Joel Grind as well from Toxic Holocaust. He loves punk.
Absolutely. And punk is, definitely also people who liked punk who also like thrash. There you go, you got crossover. And I like some crossover bands. Sometimes people like to criticize crossover bands, but there's a lot of crossover bands everywhere. You can't really be an original band if you don't have a little bit of a crossover of something in there. You just can't be. Otherwise, you're just a copycat clone. So, I mean, to put a little bit of a different element into it, yeah, somebody who likes punk and thrash is going to make something that's going to, there you go, crossover.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And speaking of DRI, I'm quite pissed at myself because I missed them. They were just here yesterday.
Oh,
they were
damn.
here. They were at Respectables, and I was trying to go to my buddy's birthday show, which had the Covenant, a local band I was going to interview, and his band. But I messaged one of my friends, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm at seeing DRI at Respects." I'm like, "Oh fuck." Damn, and that's one band I've been dying to see. But it's sad because I lost my chance. But there's always another time, right?
Yep. And that's another
Yeah,
thing too. Like
they
a lot more
tour
people
pretty often.
and that's another thing too. People need to start going to, if like there's a show around you, you definitely need to like go support it, go check out the bands, pick up some of their merch and stuff. If we don't go to shows, like that's how a lot of them make their money and continue, funding their next album or either. And if get the proper amount of support, they're probably not going to continue on. So yeah, that's definitely a big thing. People definitely should like keep going to town, or even like an hour's drive away. Like make the effort to go see them. But yeah, so anyways, that's always Sinister Sunday. We are kind of like running out of time, unfortunately. Thrash is definitely going to be a continued topic for next Sinister Sunday, though. A lot more to talk about, a lot more bands to promote and discuss. Before I go, I see Eddie in the chat there. I definitely want to shout out his band Vanda, which they are kind of a black metal band that do take some influence from thrash, so very relevant for tonight's stream. Definitely good. I appreciate everyone in the chat for hanging out with us, throwing in your opinions, including your favorite games and fans and whatnot. Thanks to the panel here, with me being Lord Husk from Lord Husk's Evil Empire. I will provide a link in the description box below to his new channel, if it's not already there, after the stream. And I want to thank Jessica from Death Metal Drummer's Wife for appearing and now kind of being a consistent Rebellion panel member here. It's very nice to have you with us on a consistent basis. And I also want to shout out to the missing panelists for tonight that couldn't be here, that being Azag Gala from and Trez from Total Metal Rejection. A couple other members that I consider part of the Rebellion family as well that are looking on a more regular basis are Jax from Jax Be the Rippers channel, also known as the Bunny Barn if you kind of back in the day, as well as Classy Lonnie Metal. I know he's going to be wanting to join us in the future when his Wi-Fi is all, and Cameron Finney or Cam Finney. He's also part of the Rebellion family, and he's looking forward to joining us in a future stream. So shout outs to them too. And before we wrap this up, one final thing: the new Drakir album is finished and Bandcamp as we speak. So look for a kind of Drakir new album promotional video coming this week, and maybe merch announcements the following week. So yeah, definitely go to the Drakir Bandcamp, check it out. Let me know what you think of the new album. Yeah, that's it. So for Glory, for the Rebellion, Sinister Sunday is over.